Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Today we're going to be talking about some EQ tricks for difficult to mix vocals. I was actually filming for one of my new courses called Mixing First Aid. It's available now and it's on sale. I'll put the link below in the screen or in the upper right if you'd be interested in that. But this was an excerpt from the course, and I think it's actually really cool because I kind of begin to chase my tail when I'm trying to EQ this vocal. And I really demonstrate what can happen if you're not careful. You do one thing, then you have to adjust something else, and then you have to adjust something else, and then eventually you're back where you started. So it's a really cool segment. It's about the length of a CSL episode, so I figured, why not? Let's make a video about this. So I want to kick it in about where I'm already starting to EQ, but I'm starting to kind of mess with the mid-range. So let's kick it off. So I was hearing some other things, just kind of weirdness, kind of boxiness kind of stuff.
You stronger, only holds you longer. The room is empty, but I keep looking here for you.
Just trying to get out some of this boxiness sound out.
You stronger, only holds you longer. Room is empty, but I
See, it doesn't sound really that great taking it out.
you stronger, only holds you longer. Room is empty, but I keep looking here for you.
So that's not bad. Now, we're getting into that area that, if you've seen any of the YouTube videos I talk about this, it's that you should just leave the mid-range alone. It's been a while since I've mentioned that, but don't touch the mid-range, because as soon as you start messing with it, then it starts sounding funny. It starts sounding messed with. It's a lot easier to mess with the lows or the highs. The mid-range, you're kind of on your own if you screw something up, You may have to just, okay, let's start over. This isn't sounding right. You'll go so far down one path and it's just sounding weird. So you got to be really careful messing with the mids here. And by mids, I mean like anything from 3 to 500 and up. And for the highs, probably anything below 5K on the vocal.
You stronger, only holds you longer. You stronger.
So I take out the bothersome 900 there, but then it makes the vocals sound thin and almost overly sibilant. So
You stronger, only holds you longer.
I mean, you got to be real gentle. Let's see here, 400.
You stronger, only
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot of 400 too.
you stronger, only holds you.
That's kind of what gives it that boxy sound. We could try to take out some of it.
You stronger, only holds you longer. Room, you stronger, only holds you longer. Room is empty. You stronger, only holds you longer.
Of course, this low end now sounds like it's overly boosted.
You stronger, only holds you longer. You stronger, only holds you longer. You stronger, only holds you longer. You stronger, only holds you longer.
And then I take that, and then it sounds more mid-rangey, so I take that out, and then all of a sudden it sounds more sibilant. You just can't find the right solution. And this is what makes this voice so hard. This is why mic selection and the choices you make on the recording day really can pay off. Because, we've spent a lot of time already just messing with EQ. And, something as simple as just, hey, we should switch out the mic. Oh, cool, let's do that. It would have taken 2 minutes. So, let's just go real gentle with this stuff. I don't want to mess up the vocal too much. But one thing we can do, though, is Hey, let's act like a ribbon mic. What if we just took out some highs? What would that do? Let's take out everything else. Let's just disable it.
Makes you stronger, it only holds you long.
So that's stuff. Let's take some of it out.
Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Makes you stronger, it only holds you long. Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. The room is empty, but I keep looking here for you. Lonely for you, yeah.
So if I kind of melt it down into the mix and turn down the output, we can hear how well it's going to work in the mix. Check this out. I think it's working pretty good.
Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Room is empty. Makes you stronger, it only holds you longer.
Let me start it back a little earlier.
There was wear on the crutches and the shadows. Many men have failed, but I've led all. I know now that I've put a weight on your shoulder. It only makes you stronger, it only holds you longer. Room is empty, but I
Okay, that sounds pretty good. You would not know that I took a huge dip out of the highs from 1.5K and up. That's a huge adjustment, really. But it enabled me to use less stuff, and I just did a simple adjustment, right? So that really worked quite well, I thought. And when you can turn it down, you can still hear the vocal, you can turn it up, and it doesn't hurt your ears. Like, you have a range of acceptable balances that you can choose from, hot vocal, buried vocal, whatever, and it all tends to work. And you probably have a good vocal sound because it's fairly adaptable. The tonalities aren't offensive if it's kind of loud. The tonalities don't get too buried. So it's a pretty good vocal sound. Now, of course, if you want to bury the vocal, you could add a little bit more mids, like 3, 4K, just a touch. And if you have a louder vocal, then you have a little bit more low end, maybe a little more high end. So for here, it's a rock tune. I don't need a lot of crisp high end. It's not an R&B track, right? So how do I match the flavor of the song? I mean, it is kind of a mid-rangey kind of mic, but it's got a lot of high end. So it's almost like it's abnormally crisp. So we took it out. Really trying to balance the lows. The mids, I don't want to touch, so I'm just kind of balancing the lows and the highs. And I think that worked pretty well. So this is kind of an interesting point, because how do you EQ difficult to mix vocal? And the trick is really to use as minimal stuff as possible, minimal moves as possible, and use reductions if you can. So we try to boost in the lows. It was pretty good, but then we found ourselves coming back to it and be like, well, maybe that's too much. Maybe it's too much lows. We tried to reduce different things in the mids, try to mess with the mids. Didn't sound good. I took this out. All of a sudden, it sounded like there was no warmth to it, and there was too much sibilance. So what do? We go back and turn down the sibilance. It's just a circular thing. You just chase your tail. Forget it. One move. Highs. Reduce them. Boom, we're done. Okay, so, you could see that the trick to this is to make as minimal moves as possible. At least in this case, it was make as minimal moves as possible. It's almost like the more that you do to it, the worse it gets. Now, the simplest move would have been to choose a different mic or adjust the mic position. That would have been the simplest move, and that would have been without any processing. You could have had the tone that you needed. Now, when you use EQ, you're adding some phase shift. It's altering the signal a little bit. it may not transfer as well in a mix. If you really EQ a mix, I've noticed that when I go out to my car or any other listening environment that I usually listen to music, there could be some weird stuff going on. But if I did that with the raw tracks and maybe only used high-pass filters or low-pass filters, just very simple EQ moves, the mix actually came out a lot better. There was a lot less messing around and jerking the frequencies around. So, in this example today, it was that we used minimal moves and we ended up with a better result. That was pretty cool. It was cool to see kind of how we can start to chase our tail on this. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. What do you do when you have a vocal that just doesn't have the right sound? And whatever you do, you keep kind of chasing your tail and trying different things. I'd be curious to know what your tricks are to EQing vocal, just making sure that it's the right sound for your song and for your mix. I'll be hanging out in the comments below. I'll talk to you soon.